lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Jose, The Plain Truth, and Sleeping Warrior. Good to have you all.
Here we are.
Bill Miller.
So go on then, let's rattle through housekeeping, Nath.
Any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
None.
No. No.
Any signs of axial rotation?
None.
No. No.
What about evidence of gas pressure without a container?
No.
Nope.
No.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
No. Nope.
What about evidence of the distance to the sun being measured?
Notice that Eleanor just laughed after you said that.
Yeah, I
Gets
noticed
the
that.
joke.
No.
Nope.
What about evidence of gravity?
Evidence or scientific proof?
Owen's not here.
Evidence? Nah. No evidence of gravity, Nathan. Everything's explained by density and buoyancy. Nothing more needed or nothing else in addition is needed, and nor can be provided evidence to support. Everything's explained by density and buoyancy.
Fair enough. Last but not
No,
least,
no
then,
evidence, bro.
last but not least, any evidence of the presupposition itself? Any evidence of R, Earth radius, gentlemen?
The only thing that I keep seeing being mentioned is a sock account in chat asking you to prove R. Why would somebody be asking you to prove R when you're the one that's asking for the proof? Is somebody a bit stupid with whose burden of proof it is?
Yeah, just stupidity. Sorry. People in the chat, peanut gallery, whatever you want to call it, are often stupid.
Oh.
I heard you, Nathan. Either you found some R or somebody told you about an R and you put it somewhere, like dark place, lonely.
Yeah, forced Red Rhetoric's ass.
Are we ready to play the next round of Spot the Assumption?
I love it. Yes, please.
Right, I'll drop out of this and I'll rejoin on Skype, yeah?
Cool.
Yeah, when there's NASA, they make these videos like this last one that Riley put, the Spot the Assumption. That is hilarious because he's so, I don't know, not really cringy, but it's so indoctrination.
Screen
like,
share.
oh, like little kids, you know?
Dog. Screen share and sounds. That one. Okay, so again, we're going to visit our...
Tell us what we're about to be subject to.
We're gonna spot the assumption. Again, we're going to use our friend Eileen Perez, an astrophysicist that's quite pleasant on the eye. I want to give a big shout out to Pete Shea on this one, because if you look carefully on the frame that I've just managed to pause it on, she appears to have a wonky eye, therefore she must be an alien. Anyway, what we're going to do is look for where the assumption is. So Eileen Perez says in the video entitled Sizes and Distances in the Sun, Earth, Moon System, about astrophysics and outer space. So we're going to look for the assumption, and this one starts pretty much straight away.
No sound.
No sound?
No.
Share screens and sounds. Okay. Okay, this should work.
Hi, my name is
That
Eileen.
work?
Yeah, that's all good.
Okay, so Eileen Perez, here we go. Let's spot the assumption.
Hi, my name is Eileen Perez, and I'm an astrophysicist, and this is sizes and distances of the Sun, Earth, and Moon system. So first, let's talk about the distances. A very famous distance is the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
We all know the distance between the Earth and the Sun, don't we, Nath? What's the distance?
Hold on. What did she just say? We all know the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Is that what she just said?
Yeah, let's
No,
play
we
it
don't.
again.
Yeah, I think she did.
Let's play it again.
A very famous distance is the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
I missed it.
So first, let's talk about the distances. A very famous distance.
A very famous distance, she says.
Is the distance
famous
between the Earth and the
distance.
Sun. And this is called 1 astronomical unit.
And that's
Bingo!
kind of where we stop.
There it is.
It's kind of where we stop, because at that point, right, what she then does is puts the number in kilometers, 150 million kilometers. But at this point, she's saying that we know the distance to the Sun. But I remind people on the flat Earth side that the minute you see anybody referring to 1 AU, what they're actually doing is referring to, or they're applying the results of Kepler's third law. And Kepler's third law on interplanetary motion, it gives you a scale, and you can see it says the square root of the orbital period of a planet is directly proportional to the cube of the semi-major axis of his orbit. So what? This captures the relationship. At no point does it give you the actual distances. It gives you the relationship between the distances. There's no empirical evidence there of distance on any of them, but that's where you have to then say, well, where did the distance come from? And I remind myself that when Jimmy came into chat recently, he was the first one to cite Christian Huygens and Cassini. And in the citation that I find from NASA, or related to NASA, from this journal, it claims that, I'll read the first line, it says, there's one particular, there we go. It says, astronomical history books tell us that the first measurement came from an observation of the parallax of Mars in 1672 by Cassini and Richter. There was, however, a determination in 1659 by Christian Huygens that is, quote, both ingenious and accurate and which deserves to be better known, unquote. So because it deserves to be better known, I want everybody to realise that this is where it comes from and it needs to be better known. And it's really quite ingenious, it says. It says Huygens wanted to give the sizes of these objects relative to the size of the Earth. He knew the relative distances of the planets. But now note it says relative distances. It doesn't say the actual distances. He knew the relative distances of the planets. But in order to convert his angular measurements into Earth diameter, he needed to find the distance from the Earth to the Sun in Earth diameters. Huygens solved this problem with an assumption. If he supposed that the planet Venus was the same size as Earth, he could calculate the distance in Earth diameters from his measurement of its angular size. But it's all based on the assumption that Venus is the same size as Earth. Well, let's not say it's the same size as Earth. Let's say it's the same size as, say, Jupiter, for example, or say that it's the same size as the Sun, because we don't know the distance. So we have an infinitely variable distance there based on the perception or the assumption that it's the same size as Earth, which in itself is an assumption for R. How did they know the size of the Earth? Some bloke with 3 sticks in the ground? Come on. But this is the citation that she cites from. She cites from 1 AU, which comes from Kepler's third law, which gives us a relationship scale, which somebody somewhere called Huygens has calculated the distances based on assuming that Venus was the same size as Earth. Well, don't assume that Venus is the same size as Earth, and then you get a totally different scale, and therefore nobody knows the distance to the celestial objects, according to this citation. Now, obviously, I've challenged No Siam and Dan for what is the current science for how they know the distance to the Sun, and as yet, some time later, I've not had a response from him yet, and I'm sure he's getting onto it, but he's too busy with his new bum boy, making new videos. But point is, I think he's going to have to come back with some radar testing of Venus or something similar. But whatever he comes back with, it's more not to do with the explanation. It's more to do with the evidence that supports the explanation to be true that I'm interested in. Because who knows what the evidence is? Who knows what he's going to come back with? But I want to just see where he bases it all on. But it appears that nobody knows the distance to the sun. So when it comes to our friend here, she starts off with the assumption of 1 AU. Well, that actually doesn't seem to be anything other than a circular reference. And although everybody accepts it, I don't know how it's true. And I still don't know how it's true. And it seems to be based on the assumption of Venus being the same size as Earth. And if it is, the rest of these distances that she puts in this demonstration are presumptive. They're not actual. No evidence to support them whatsoever. And on that basis, it should be dismissed. Should we stop it there, Nathan, or should we carry on playing a little bit?
To be honest, now that she's made the assumption, I was just about to stop her screen sharing it anyway, because that for me is the end of that. As soon as she declares that we do know, or it's a very famous distance. Oh right, well it must be true then if it's famous. Notoriety denotes truth, definitely. No, afraid not, love. So we've been joined by a couple of new guests. How you doing, Ranty? And is that Mike? How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, that's me. I'm doing okay. Thank you.
How do?
Hello. Missed the housekeeping, so we didn't have to clarify.
It's not just famous, it's infamous.
Infamous.
Yeah.
The infamous distance
The old
to the
line
sun.
it's the old line from the Three Amigos. He's not just famous, he's infamous, which means he's more than famous. Anyway.
Right.
Sorry, that joke fell flat. But
Fair enough. Three Amigos. A long time since I've seen that movie. I've got to be honest. You back with us, Anthony?
I am. FE Core Inc. back up. Who's that?
That's me,
Mike.
Anthony.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I didn't see you in until I came back in myself.
Yeah, I connected to the Hangout with a different browser that is connected to the FE Core YouTube account, so that's why I'm entered as FE Core.
Are you on a time constraint today? Do you have to be quick?
No, not really.
So
I have my kids, and they they don't give a shit about my schedule.
Fair enough. Well, let's tell people a little bit for why you're here for today. Basically, you are familiar with the disagreement between Sean Hufford, GeoStreamer, and Soundly, and my point that GeoStreamer was being fed and it was captured on microphone, but I'm being blamed for the one that bled the sound into my own microphone, and that's blatantly not true. Now, basically, I can't prove one way or the other whose microphone that played because I don't possess the skills to do it. But Sean needs to be able to do that to try and get away from the idea that there's a hangout somewhere that I was playing. So he knows that there's no hangout and he can't produce said hangout. But because he needs to produce the hangout, he has to dilute the significance of that requirement of the evidence to prove his position. That is, of course, that I played the sound. But that means that he has to really ramp up the importance of the sound that he's claiming that's played through my microphone. And of course, it's a moot point because as far as I can tell based on Sean's interpretations using his so-called skills, it doesn't prove either way. It doesn't prove whose microphone was presenting what sound. I accept that there is a sound there, and I accept it was picked up at a low decibel in the background by one of our microphones. But when I'm looking at Sean giving his interpretation, in my opinion, it appears that he's saying things like, imagine that you're on the beach and you're looking for crabs and you're picking up rocks, and there's two of you. The other person says, hey, did you see the crab then under this one? And then you say, no, I missed it. It'll be under the next one. So then you look under the next one and then you don't see it. And they says, yeah, there it was then. Did you not see it? And there's no crab there, but you're being told there's a crab there. So you pick up the third one and what do you know? There's still no crab there, but someone's telling you that there's a crab there. And I'm looking at this citation or this analysis that Sean's providing, and I'm not seeing any crab under no rock, but he's telling me there's a crab there. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm not seeing it. And I'm thinking you're either lying and deceiving, or I'm not skilled at what you're telling me should be there, and I can't tell either way. But what that tells me is that Sean can neither prove nor disprove the sound came from whoever's mic, but he's telling their people that it definitely came from my microphone, and he's trying to present it as though it's credible. And I can't see anything that's there that he is telling me is there. I can't see it. So Mike got in touch this morning. And Mike, do you want to tell people what it is that you can demonstrate, prove, and do better than Sean? Because I'll just put it straight. I don't think Sean's being honest with what he tells people he can do.
Well, you know who you need to call?
Go on.
Audio Man.
Well, no, that's the guy we don't need to call. Audio guy's not the guy, because I don't think Sean...
I know.
I don't think he possesses the skills, because I'm looking at what he's analysing, and I'm not seeing what he's telling me is there.
Oh, it's Audio Guy, isn't it?
Yeah, Audio Guy.
Audio Guy.
Audio Guy. Yeah. Well, scrap that. Sean is definitely not an audio guy. I am. And I will do forensic research on the audio clip that you presented to me. And I will get a definite answer on which microphone is playing the actual sound.
When you say you will get a definite, how definite is definite?
I'd say 99.99% certainty.
And how will it be presented? Will it be like a graph or some kind of? I mean, what will we see that will prove it so that it's uncontributed?
Well, there is a specific process you can do to filter out specific frequencies and then determine which microphone is actually active during a specified played sound. You filter out that sound, and you are left with a signature of a microphone. And
but the problem is both microphones can be open at once.
No. There's a gate. So what you're saying, Mike, is that you can identify basically the sounds, the characteristic signature of either the room the mic's in or the mic itself, and say that mic was producing sound at this moment. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, but the problem is both mics can be open at once. If you start talking now, I can talk over you so that the audience hears both people's microphones at once.
Yeah, but you can distinguish which microphone is actually producing the sound by its noise frequency signature.
There you go.
So it doesn't matter if both microphones are open at the same time. You can still distinguish between the two.
See, now, based on what you've seen Sean doing, I don't think Sean's telling people... I don't think Sean's got the skills to be able to demonstrate the points, because when he's demonstrating his point, I'm not seeing what he's telling people is there. What do you see Sean doing that you don't agree with in terms of you formed the opinion that Sean's not an audio guy?
Well, I haven't watched his analysis, not 1 second, but somebody claiming to be an audio guy just by listening to a sound is ridiculous. There's a lot more involved to actually do the forensic research required to, determine without a shadow of doubt which microphone is actually activated during the specified timestamp. And it's not something you do in 3 minutes. That takes a few hours.
Okay, could I ask you what your background is in regards to this kind of forensic stuff that you'll be doing with the sound?
Right, audio. What's your background in audio?
I've got a master's degree in professional audio engineering from the University of Aberdeen Bay in Australia. So I am qualified and certified to do audio research.
You're a sound engineer?
I'm an audio engineer, yes.
Awesome.
So does that mean that you would be the real audio guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a qualified sound engineer.
Right. So how long will it take you to be able to do the job properly?
Well, the signature extraction, I'm guessing I can do in about 30 minutes, but to demonstrate it live here on a show, I'm going to compile that data in a nice presentable format and show everybody the process of extracting the signature. And then I'm considering even writing an algorithm to let software determine which microphone is actually activated. So it's not just our interpretation, it's actually real forensic information.
That's awesome. Are you going to do it today? Are you going to do it live today?
No, sadly no. I spoke to Anthony this morning, and I offered to do it a couple hours ago, with the disclaimer that it will take me some time to do it. And since I'm a busy man that has 2 businesses to run and 3 children to raise, I have very little spare time. So I will try and do it this weekend. And as soon as I've got it finished, I will notify you guys and come on and present it.
There's no rush, Mike, because I want to give GeoStreamer an opportunity to come clean. So, Geo, as you can probably sense, the net is tightening. Yeah, the noose is getting tighter around your neck, my friend. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to just admit it. Admit that you're being fed by Soundly. We all know it already, but you've lied about it consistently from them until now, and you've got an opportunity to come clean.
Well, should we just...
my advice would be to do it, because if I were to present the evidence that I'm going to get into a court of law, there's no way you can get around it. It's considered to be ironclad forensic evidence.
Okay, well, should we just wait until we get your report back? Because let's just say, shock horror, that it does actually come back and it's through Anthony's microphone. You know, I mean, you're still going to present it, and then obviously we'll have a lot of humble pie to eat, but you're definitely you're gonna do it in a way that is, you know, you go in there with open eyes, and you're going to take both sides, and you're going to come up with the correct result.
Yeah, well, what I discussed with Anthony is that I'm going to do it. I'm going to determine which one is which, and then I'm going to present it live, how I did it and how I came to the conclusion, and backed up by the algorithm that detects the same conclusion.
Okay.
So the current method being used by Sean is he's using Audacity to interpret what he's looking at.
Yeah, Audacity is a free audio platform. Has no freaking quality, zero.
I was going to ask what's the problems with using Audacity to make the claims he's making?
Well, it's not really a professional audio engineering program. It's a free platform that's it's usable. You can use it for specific tasks, but for professional audio engineering, you use professional audio platforms and not Audacity or ProTracker.
So why have you come and presented your what's in this for you?
What's in it for me? Well, the opposition is always trying to discredit us.
Yeah.
And based on lies, faulty assumptions, and biased opinions. And what I'm going to do is give an unbiased opinion and discredit my detractors or our detractors with actual proof. On the contrary to what these guys always do, is imply, and assume.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you offering, because I couldn't.
That's what I'm offering, because I'm getting not sick and tired, but it's frustrating that there are people out there that just are out to discredit genuine academics just because they believe in flat Earth,
Okay,
yes.
Can I just mention something? Somebody in chat. This jockey Mokilo says that Audacity is the same quality as professional studio equipment. Now, is that just a lie?
That's bollocks. Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
I like the pronunciation of the word bollocks. That was very accurate. It wasn't overpronounced like some Americans do, where they go bullocks.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because we get this in the chat and people will spout this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's what it is. People on the internet can say whatever the hell they want, and they can get away with it because of their anonymity. But people that actually know what they're talking about, if you go to a professional audio engineer in any country of any breed, and you will say that Audacity is the same quality as, for example, Cubase or Logic, you will get laughed straight in your face and kicked out the door.
So sorry, Jockey, that assumption of yours there, that statement is utter bollocks.
Yes.
From the man himself.
How strong is the evidence evaluation that Sean's completed so far? I mean, my interpretation is it doesn't identify anything, but he's telling me that there's the stuff there. How strong is using Audacity for the purpose that he's using it?
Well, if it's just an interpretation, then it's worth nothing. You know, then it's subject to the bias of the interpreter.
That's what I think it is. I think what he's doing is he's telling people that it proves something that I don't see anything there when he's telling me that there's something there, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I can equally argue that that comes out of Geo's mic. How can you tell the difference? And I can't see it because I don't think he's got the skills to be able to prove it, because I think he self-professes and he's an enthusiast with probably the best of intentions from his perspective. But when it comes to present whose mic's proving what, it doesn't seem to be there, or I'm not seeing what he's pointing out. So maybe it's me being ignorant, but I just don't see what he's telling me is supposed to be there.
Well, it's exactly that, isn't it? He's telling you. It's the George letting you. I'm the citation. It's because I say so. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to finding out which microphone was playing, because that in itself, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to, as the neutral observer, you're going to look at Sean Hufford self-proclaiming to be an audio guy, gotta love me. And then you've got what he shows is supposed to be the crab under the rock. And there's no crab there. I can't see anything that he's referring to that makes me see anything. And it's subjective interpretation based on what I would call smoke and mirrors. I don't see, the Emperor isn't wearing any clothes as far as I can see.
Well, I'm wondering, could we get 2 for 1? Could we be able to get the comparison with Sean Hufford and how he either got it correct or how he ballsed it up? You know, would you be able to perhaps look into his way of analysing it and compare it and contrast it with the professional equipment you have and show him up audio guy for the idiot that he is?
What do you mean, doing a voice analysis on Sean?
Well, doing an analysis of his analysis of the audio. So well, he says that
an analysis of the audio. He just has an interpretation.
Yeah, that's what I think it is, an interpretation.
Well, it's not. He goes into great detail, breaking it up bit by bit. He goes into the very specific frequencies, etc. Now, I'm wondering if you took a look at his work in how he came to his conclusions, would you be able to discredit him or, you know, validate him one way or the other?
Well, he just said that it's an interpretation.
What we could do is basically my analysis of the information and compare it to his and see if there is any corroboration between it.
Perfect, yeah. Because if it doesn't corroborate, who would you rather believe? The guy that's got a degree and works in this industry, or somebody that just self-proclaims to be?
I don't work in the industry, but I only have the degree.
Okay, fair enough.
There's people that don't watch and follow these shows in the daily basis, and they don't know all the details. And Sean and his crew, Sean is playing the appeal to authority card. Maybe his panel members, you know, his right and left hand, they know what's going on. But many of the people jump in the chat, they say, oh, he said he's an expert, so what he say must be true. He did that show and he pointed fingers and he said, like, you're a piece of crap. People believe it, you know. People don't go back. They say, ah, he's all right. He's the expert. So I think they're playing that game now.
Yeah, well, now we can one-up him because I actually have a degree in audio engineering.
Very cool. Very cool. I think it's for the comparison to come afterwards, though, because obviously it would tarnish what you were doing while you analysed it if you were to study what Sean had done. But in the aftermath, you can compare and contrast, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched any videos of Sean ever. Probably not going to, except for this, just to discredit, which I will do with...
I'm just going to address Peanuts Clark in chat, and he says, why does Anthony feel the need to prove this? We already know what Geo was doing. The reason why, well, to be honest, I don't. I see this as moot. I see this as a moot point because the way that Sean's presenting his interpretations, he's trying to present it as conclusive. But I can see by what he's doing that it neither proves one nor the other. I can equally argue, based on Sean's interpretation, that it's Geo's mic that's doing it. And I don't think anybody would be able to prove that it wasn't, because I don't think Sean's doing the right thing to be able to do it. But Sean's putting a lot of weight on this particular argument because he knows there's no hangout. So I was saying, forget all this analysis. If you can find the hangout, I'll accept that the microphone was mine that picked it up. But because Sean doesn't want to go looking for it anymore because he knows it doesn't exist, he's got to put all his eggs in this basket. So what he's doing is making a really strong argument, in other words, the existence of the noise that he claims that I was listening to. show that that exists. Otherwise, it's the recording of a conversation that's coherent between GeoStreamer and Soundly. But because that doesn't actually exist, and he's putting all his eggs in this one basket, I'm like, well, okay, this is a moot point. I'm not over bothered about it, but somebody's offered the service, and on the basis of a free gift, why would I not take it up? If he can demonstrate and show which microphone actually picked up the sound, then that's... I didn't know I had that ability before, but now I have that ability. I may as well use it. So I don't feel as though I need to prove it. It's subject to the other evidence of the Hangout existing. But if that doesn't exist, that's game over as far as I'm concerned. But to Sean's listeners, they all think that the sound came through my microphone, and they've all forgotten that the importance is the Hangout exists in the first place. So it just gives me the ability to be able to go into his Hangout. And I know he won't let me in there because he doesn't want me on his Hangouts anymore. He's made that really clear. But I can troll the chat and say, look, I can prove that it didn't come from my microphone, regardless of whether you have the Hangout or not. And that's really all it is. It's not the need to do it. It's just to counter his argument. And it was gifted to me. And I thought, well, I may as well take this because it will give me some evidence that's better than his own, which is an interpretation.
Can I just add something to that? So there is a good reason for doing this, and it's more to do with GeoStreamer. And GeoStreamer is claiming to be an academic while he spreads his nonsense and misunderstandings about science. But simultaneously, and I'm not gonna label him this just yet, but because of the work of Sean Hufford. So at the moment there is a slight doubt. It is not beyond reasonable doubt that this occurred the way we say it occurred, which is to say that you can listen to the contemporaneous conversation between GeoStreamer and Soundly and tell it's obviously him asking a question and getting a reply. But they've cast a tiny amount of doubt on it. So for that reason, we've said, okay, we're going to hold off calling you frauds because there's a tiny amount of doubt. And while you're away going to try and cast more doubt on this, muddy the waters, whatever it is you're going to try and attempt to do, Anthony, thanks to Mike, been put in a position where he can say, well, okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to prove conclusively that it isn't coming through my mic, shattering your current assertions and proving beyond reasonable doubt that you have lied about this. You are a fraud and a charlatan.
But what it will also do, it will not only discredit Geo and it will discredit Soundly, but we'll also get Sean Hufford thrown into the mix as well for the fact that he would have been going through all this way, probably getting his analysis wrong to try and validate or cover up the lie, you know. So essentially, this is quite an important piece of work that's going to be done this weekend by, sorry, what's your name? Is it F.E. Corink? Mike. So yeah, Mike is obviously going to do an important piece of work this week, and if it turns out that it did come through through Geo's mic, then well, you know, we've got the whole cabal there, so to speak.
Yeah, well, it's basically then a defamation of character of Anthony, you know.
Yeah, of course, it always is. But the faceless, the thing is, you can say anything you want on the internet, and they get troll accounts to do it in like 3 or 4 times over, so that one voice becomes 3 or 4, and then that sounds like everybody's got a consensus. But at the end of the day, what is going to come out here is that Sean's going to be shown to be reckless. He's going to be shown that he's passing off that he's an audio guy, that he's reckless with his assertions, and he's incompetent because hopefully whatever comes back is going to be presented in a way that makes it easy for everybody to discern which microphone was taking the sound. And if it is presented in a way that's really easy and it can't be like argued against, then Sean is negligent, or not necessarily negligent, he's reckless, because he's telling people lies. He's telling people stuff that isn't true based on what he claims is his skill. Audio guy. And I don't think he's got the skill.
Complicit. Right?
Sorry, go on.
I said he's complicit.
Yeah, he's complicit. He's complicit. That is the bigger crime. Forget Geo in the Hangout. We all know that they do that. We know that they have help, but we've never had the evidence to prove it. But now we have the evidence. It's now we've got to try and prove this thing. And the assertion is that it came from Geo. He was having a conversation with Soundly, and it's blatantly obvious. But like Nathan says, there was a moment where a little bit of doubt's been created. And if we can destroy that little bit of doubt, it might require a fair amount of work to do it. But I'm sure we can do it and make it basically go away.
Just going to say a couple of hellos to Earth Flattener and Colorado. Good to have you both. Hello, hello.
And if you are a follower of these guys and you have a shred of integrity in your gut, when this is exposed and you're still a subscriber to that channel, makes you the same disingenuous, lying sack of shit as they are.
Yeah.
Sorry for my language.
True, I think that they're all like that. I think George and Nathan is. I think that everybody against us, the main protagonists against us are liars, all of them.
Yeah, George is he lies all the time. He makes up claims that basically are quoting the mainstream narrative verbatim. And with regards to pendulums and gyroscope, there are not many people that can actually validate what he's actually saying or disprove it. And that's why he boasts that it's true. But people like me, with the example of gyroscopes, for example, we own a lot of gyroscopes and we do know how the pendulum works. So George is full of shit.
Hey, Brandon,
there is no precision in gyroscopes. There is no precision in a pendulum.
Hello.
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 Hi, Brandon.
Hey, good morning, guys. Or
Morning.
afternoon.
Afternoon.
Brandon, whilst you're here, did you see the point that we made against Rumpus while he got kicked out of GeoStreamer's Hangout the other day?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good point. I didn't even consider it at the time, and I appreciate the shout out, Anthony. It made a lot of sense, and I really wish I would have concluded and just kind of stuck that ball in the net as you suggested.
I was going to say, did you realize that he played a tactical foul and got sent off because he realized that he was just about to lose his main point?
I did, but the whole idea that they were presenting, and I can't even remember what the name of the force that they were trying to put forward, which was based on a model, was, but it was ludicrous, just on its face. It's just idiocy. And the fact that he would bring it up after Debbie destroyed him how many months ago, which I think John did a great job of outlining, is just stupid. Is that they try to trap people with that? It doesn't make any sense. It's ludicrous. It's just idiocy. And Rumpus is a fool. He's in the chat, by the way. Hey, Rumpus, you're a fool.
Well, actually,
shout out to Rumpus in the chat.
Shout out to Trackdid. Rumpus he is a fool, but he shows his astuteness in that example because he knew that you were just about to break free from the last man being himself, and he knew that you were about to put the ball in the back of the net, so he had to foul you, which is what he did, and he sacrificed his place on the panel for doing so. So that's not a sign of being a fool. That's a sign of somebody that knows the game, and he's took one for the team. So that I don't think calling him a fool is the right word. I think the word is complicit.
Well, I think the Rumpus has took one for the team lots of times.
Yeah.
No, maybe fool's not the right word, Anthony. Maybe just utter moron.
Yeah. Quote his own words back on himself.
utter. Moron.
I'd really like to see if Rumpus will admit that that's what he did. I know he'll never do it, but I do want to ask him the question. Come on, Rumpus, just put a yes, no in chat. Did you take a tactical foul for the team or not? We all know you did. Let's just see if you admit it.
Hello.
Hey, Chucky.
Hey, Chocolate.
You.
He's not going to admit that. Come on, Anthony.
No, he's not going to do it, but I just want Rumpus to know that we know. That's all I need.
Yeah, we know Rumpus. Come on.
They'll probably join with him sitting on the microphone. You know what he's like. Screaming.
I was impressed that Gio kicked him out. It did catch me off guard that he actually kicked him out of it.
That's the superficial perception, which I initially thought was the good thing, and I gave him credit for it. But when I listened back to it, I realised what actually went on there. And although Gio was acting with good intentions in that instance, he didn't realise how badly cornered and about to concede a goal he was. And that just shows his naivety on the debate side of it. He didn't realise he was just about to be exposed with his main argument being thrown in the bin.
By the way, just so you guys know, I think they controlled my mic volume during that debate.
Probably.
So there was some exchange between me and Rumpus. I'm not sure it came through when I listened back to it, but I was kind of calling him out on just rumpusing the hangout. That's what got him kicked out. But I'm not sure I heard that when I listened back to it.
That's followed him, that phrase, hasn't it? Rumpusing the hangout.
Yeah, they added it to the dictionary this year. You guys see that on the news?
They added what to the dictionary? I missed that.
Rumpusing the hangout.
Oh, rumpusing the hangout. Yeah, that should be a Google phrase. That a new thing.
It sure should.
And I love that even the ballers call it rumpusing the hangout as well.
Hey, Alan. Hey, Alan.
Hello.
Hello, Alan.
What can we do for you, Alan?
I'm just wondering if this guy's so good with audio, why doesn't he work in the industry?
Because he's a scientist. What's better, an audio guy or a scientist?
Brilliant, Tony.
So does
Do
Sean?
you want to
hold
hear
on,
my
just-
reply to that, or?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, when I got my degree in audio engineering, I went to the Media Park here in the Netherlands to apply for a function there. And the waiting list was about 8 years, and there's a selection process, about 200 people that apply to that. So the chances of me getting an actual position in the sector that I wanted to work in was next to impossible without somebody on the inside that could help me get in. So that's why I decided to.
So there's no recording studios, no TV studios, anything like that in the Netherlands?
Yeah, there are, but not of the kind and size that I would like to work in, you know. And I
how convenient.
What do you mean?
How convenient.
Why is that convenient?
Why is it not?
Sorry, can I just establish something? Does Sean work in the audio industry?
I think he works in Walmart. I'm not a fan.
So Sean Hufford, the guy who's claiming to be audio guy, you think works in Walmart?
I wasn't making a claim.
Well, Sean is making the claim, and you're saying that this guy,
I'm not sure.
Meaning Mike,
I'm not sure.
You're talking all over me, Alan. Yeah, you're talking all over me while I absolutely obliterate your point. That Sean,
no, you won't. You're twisting the point.
You're going to talk all over me, so I'm going to shut you up and point out that by your standards, you have just asserted that this guy who has got a degree in sound, but doesn't work in sound, and somehow that discredits him. It doesn't, Alan. However, Sean, who has absolutely sod all experience whatsoever and apparently works in Walmart, would, by your standards, have absolutely no place whatsoever
not my
to make.
standards at all.
Shut up! Absolutely no place whatsoever to make assertions about anything to do with sound. He's not a professional sound engineer. He doesn't work in a studio. He doesn't work in television. The guy's just a wanker making assertions based on what he does on his computer.
I think it's hilarious that, you know, based on what degrees you have to work in that industry. I also have a degree in mechanical engineering and also in technical engineering. So I need to work in all those industries at the same time because I have all those degrees?
So you spent 8 years in university and ended up in a job that you didn't train in?
I don't have a job. I'm self-employed.
How many degrees you got, Alan?
2.
In what?
What does it matter?
Well, you're making a claim that
all of a sudden it doesn't matter.
Double standards, right?
All of a sudden it doesn't matter. What degrees you got, Alan?
I spent my years in writing, which is what I studied.
So what did you get your degree in?
English.
And?
English.
So you got 2 degrees in English?
I got a master's.
You have an undergrad in English and a postgrad in English, yeah?
Yes.
That isn't 2 degrees.
It's 2 degrees more than you've got.
That isn't 2 degrees.
It's a degree and a master.
It is.
It's 2 degrees. Tell him, Tony.
It is 2 degrees.
There you go.
Sorry, so just back to the point in hand then. How many degrees in audio does Sean have? Because according to IFTH...
I didn't make that claim.
I hadn't finished my question. You shut your mouth, you ignorant wanker. So, according to IFTH in the chat, at Nathan Oakley, Sean is not making a claim other than to be a gifted, he says. Shut up. What are you doing, Alan? You do it again, I'm just going to kick you out, you wanker. It's because I'm destroying your point. The Globers that you believe in are now gifted amateurs. Who claims he's gifted, IFTH? You stupid idiot. You think he's gifted, do you? Because he can have an opinion. Opinions are like assholes, IFTH. Sean is not a gifted amateur. He's a wanker.
Have you finished shouting now?
Excuse me, you talk all over me, Alan, because you are also a wanker. Because you've come and asserted that someone with a degree in the specific issue we are dealing with is somehow discredited because he doesn't work in that industry. However, Sean, who has absolutely come forward and claimed to be audio guy, is actually, according to IFTH in the chat, a gifted amateur. Now, I'm just going to call bullshit and say he's a wanker, like you.
Simply
can I ask a question? Let's go back about 5 minutes, and there was a question on the table which was put by Mike back to Alan, which was, why is that convenient? Let's have an answer for that, Alan. Why is it convenient? And then remind people what was said.
It's rather convenient that somebody spends 4 years training in something and then decides that the greatest excuse was that he can't find a place that's big enough for his personal taste. That doesn't say to me someone who's trained in one particular field.
But how many people go through the university system and come out the other side in a completely different job, myself included?
I would imagine quite a few.
Right, and why would that be, Alan?
They change their minds.
Or because there's not many jobs.
They change their minds. Very well, Alan. I changed my mind. I wanted to become a mechanical engineer.
So, just out of interest,
who is this guy?
He's a fool. Don't worry about him.
Just
We're
out of
talking
interest,
about Alan.
Alan, can I ask a quick question? Why didn't Sean ever pursue any academic qualification in this, given that he asserts that he's an authority?
I don't know. I'm not an expert on shit.
I am. I'm an expert in wankers. He is one.
Well, you're the king wanker.
Oh, really? Well, I'm not asserting I'm an audio guy. In fact, I have trained in audio. I trained in it in college. I would never assert to be an audio guy, because that's the kind of thing a wanker does when he has absolutely no qualifications in it.
What are you saying about FE Core then?
Sorry, excuse me. Let's not distract from Wanker Boy. Yeah, Mantits has claimed that he's an audio specialist. He's not. He's a wanker. Let's get it absolutely clear. He has claimed that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to audio. Now we've got somebody who's got a degree in it who's actually going to have a good look at it with some qualifications to back up what he says. Sean has no qualifications to back up what he says. He is a wanker.
Okay, Nathan, can we establish two things?
No, we can establish that Sean is a wanker, has absolutely no qualifications to assert anything about audio, but yet claims to be an audio guy, making him a wanker.
Okay, we've established, number one, Sean is indeed a wanker.
Yes, I would agree. Sean, who has claimed to try and discredit Anthony based on GeoStreber's lie about being fed by Soundly in a contemporaneous conversation between him and Soundly, whilst in a lie one-to-one hangout with Anthony, Sean is complicit in not only claiming expertise in something he has none in, but trying to smear Anthony with that fake expertise. Yes, I would agree. He is indeed a wanker.
Okay, one, Sean is indeed a wanker.
I will agree for a third time. Sean is indeed a wanker because he has claimed to be an audio guy when he has absolutely no qualifications to claim anything. He's just a wanker who's gone out and bought a bit of software, making him a wanker. Yes, I'm glad we're all in agreement that Sean Hufford is indeed a wanker and has absolutely no place to assert anything about audio.
Okay, so do you think that Mr. FE Core here, what's his name, Mike?
Yes.
Funny, Mike recording. Do you think that he will be able to give you an unbiased opinion?
I've no idea. He's not done it yet.
Do you trust that?
I've no idea. Did you listen to my answer? He's not done it yet.
Well, hang on. Let Mike answer.
Do you think he'll suffer from confirmation bias?
Why? I just said that I will not only interpret the data myself, but I will also write an algorithm to do the same thing for me. So it's not just our interpretation of the data. It's basically verified by a non-existent, non-human third party, which is an algorithm. Is that unbiased enough?
Nathan, can I say something here?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're talking about the motives of people who produce data. If we see the data that this gentleman produces relative to the audio, we should be able to interpret it ourselves. Isn't that how all data works, Alan?
No.
How about the data that comes from your buddies in the heliocentric world? Do they not have motivation to skew the data? Should we not trust their data because it came from them?
No, you test the data yourself. That's what science is about.
Okay, interesting. Then let's see this gentleman's data, and then we'll make an interpretation from there. How about that?
And do you have the file and the equipment to do that?
No, he does.
So we've got to trust him, have we?
Yeah. That's
No,
the
we don't
point.
trust him. We're going to look at the data
Did you
and
not listen
interpret
to
it
a word that
ourselves. He's
Brandon
going to
just said to you?
provide the results of his analysis.
I think you should take it to a third party.
Well, it is effectively a third party because I
What
can't.
if he call a third party?
Oh, sorry. Let's just throw this standard back at you again. So, is Sean Hufford a third party or not? Because so far, he's the only one that's done the analysis and he is directly involved and, in fact, even claimed to be one of the people on the recording. Hello? He's claiming that he's one of the people on the recording. Do you not think he's biased, you complete wanker? Don't laugh at me, you stupid prick. These people are frauds, and you're here to laugh about it, are you? You've just claimed that this guy's biased. Sean is claiming to be on the recording. Do you not think he's biased, idiot?
Oh dear.
Hello? I'm asking for a not an oh dear. He's claiming to be on the bloody recording, you stupid idiot.
Is anybody home? Hello?
Hello, Alan, thicko. Yeah, you're telling him he's biased. He's definitely not on the recording, Alan. Yeah, definitely not. Sean is claiming that it's a contemporaneous conversation between Soundly and him, you idiot.
Oh dear.
Sorry, am I going to get an answer from you, you stupid retard?
You're such a good actor, Nathan.
Am I going to get an answer for whether or not you believe that Sean, who has done an audio analysis, is biased, considering he claims to be on the recording he's analysing? Are you going to answer me or not?
No.
Yeah, that's because your argument is garbage. And the people you defend, like Sean Hufford, man-tits, yeah, he's got no place in analysing audio whatsoever. He's just a disingenuous wanker. He doesn't deserve to claim anything. He even claims to be part of this rabble of frauds. He claims he's one of the people in the recording. And you think he's not biased? Yeah, no wonder you won't answer. Because these people are about as disingenuous as they get. They are frauds, scumbags, and liars.
Nathan, what did you just call him?
A fraud, a scumbag, and a liar. That's what he is.
No, you called him something else.
I'll call him it again. A fraud, a scumbag, and a liar. Now, if you think this fraud, scumbag, liar is unbiased when he's claiming to be on the bloody recording, then you are in fact retarded.
You have such a nice bedside manner.
That's not a reply. Yeah, I'm accusing you of being retarded because you can't accept that somebody who claims to be on the recording they're analysing is in fact extremely biased. Do you not get it, you retard?
Remember the conversation we had this afternoon, Antonio? Didn't I tell you already that this would happen?
You didn't just call me Antonio, did you?
Sorry, Anthony.
How dare you?
Pardon me.
Come on.
Yeah, that's not going to be a mood breaker. Sean, the wanker, has no place analysing this audio. He is about as biased as he could be, as he is directly involved, according to him. It is a hangout that he's involved with. He couldn't be any more biased. He couldn't be any less qualified. He's got absolutely no place making assertions about this whatsoever. And what he's only doing is trying to smear Anthony. That's all that's happening here. If you can't recognise that, Alan, it makes you retarded, mentally incapable.
Hello? Anybody there? Hello, Alan?
Hi, Renty.
Hello?
How's the new camera?
Yeah, no. Every time you do this, I will point it out again. I bet Sean loves you. You're not going to distract away from this. I'll say it again. Sean has absolutely no qualifications in audio whatsoever. Now, all the people in the chat who think he's an enthusiastic amateur, I couldn't give a crap. He is totally unqualified to do what he is doing. Not only that, according to him, he is part of the analysis itself. He is part of the recording. He couldn't be any more biased.
Can I also just point out one thing? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that it did come back that the sound was being played through my mic, whatever that sound was, which is Soundly, right? how likely is it that the sound that just so happened to be playing through my microphone just by fluke sounded like it was a question from Geo, which was, where is it? Down here, right? And then the response that was played through my microphone just so happens to sound like it's the answer to the question, which was, yeah, and go back to the definition he cites too. That would be extremely coincidental, right? The need for that to be a coincidence is essential. But to be a coincidence, you're talking like winning the lottery. That would be an absolute.
Also, winning the lottery is possible, Tony.
Yeah, but the chances of it are like, what, 32 million to 1?
Still possible, even if it's 14 million to 1.
Yeah, but the burden against me is only beyond all reasonable doubt. It's not beyond every single possible remote chance ever in the history of lotteries.
Still possible.
Yeah, but too remote.
No, sorry, you're a lawyer. You know it's not.
Sorry, possible according to who? Sorry, have you analysed this, Alan? It sounds like you're saying it's a possibility because you've analysed it. Or are you just going on what Sean, the biased, complete wanker, disingenuous fraud, who is acclaimed to be part of this actual recording? Is it down to him that you're making this assumption, or have you analysed it, Alan?
I think you missed the question. The question was...
No, my question, have you analysed it?
That wasn't the question. The question was how remote is the possibility?
It's there.
Sorry, have you analysed it, Alan? Alan, how have you come to this conclusion that it is a possibility? Have you analysed it?
Because it's a possibility.
Sorry, have you analysed it?
It's a possibility.
Sorry, anything's a possibility. That means nothing. So have you analysed it?
It's a possibility.
How have you come to that conclusion?
Because Tony posed a question and I've answered it.
So just because there's probability in existence, that's your only reason, because of probability. So just by virtue of probability, there's a chance, there's a cat in hell's chance that it's not them having a contemporaneous conversation between each other. There's a cat in hell's chance that he'll go out and find this audio recording that he's had nearly 3 weeks to find, even though Anthony managed to find an audio recording in about a factor of 10 more hangouts in 24 hours. There's a cat in hell's chance that he'll... What?
Are you going to burst a bubble?
Yeah, I'm going to burst a bubble because you're laughing at these frauds. These people out to deceive my audience. These people out to deceive about the nature of the world that we live in, while simultaneously smearing people like Anthony with their amateur assessments of audio.
Well, you're a layman, aren't you?
What am I analysing? I've actually trained in audio. Not once have I claimed to be a bloody audio guy.
Why are we interested in the opinion of a English teacher, guys? Come on.
If we're going to get total silence, I guess with that, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate, and of course a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do, but if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend, or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!